What kind of lifestyle is beneficial for our spiritual development? Very good question. You see, to make any kind of development, we need to follow certain discipline. Like when you go to learn something, can you just act whimsically? Will you be allowed to? When you go to school, you have to follow the discipline. You have to attend the classes. You have to do certain things in a certain way. You have to study. You have to sit for exams. So this is how, for any kind of development, if we sincerely want to achieve, then we have to discipline ourselves. Now, in order to develop ourselves spiritually, we have to develop our consciousness. We have to refine our consciousness. Therefore, we have to abstain from activities that affect our consciousness and degrade our consciousness. What degrades our consciousness? One of the very, very important factor for that is intoxication. You can see when one becomes intoxicated, what happens to his consciousness? He loses his consciousness practically. Therefore, in order to make spiritual advancement, one has to give up intoxication. One has to be truthful in order to make spiritual advancement. Therefore, one must abstain from all kinds of falsity, all kinds of lies and hypocrisy. He has to be straightforward and honest. And in order to make spiritual advancement, one has to conquer his sex desires. Sex desire is binding us, tying us down to the material nature. Therefore, a person who wants to make spiritual advancement has to conquer sex desire. Therefore, you'll find practically in all religion, the religious practitioners have been urged or expected to be celibates. Why? Because the vital energy in the body leaves the body through the sexual act. And as a result of that, our consciousness becomes degraded. Our consciousness loses its elevated status. Now, on the other hand, when one conquers sex desire, his consciousness becomes refined and elevated. As one abstains from sex life, and in Sanskrit or in yoga, these are called elevation of Kundalini through the chakras. As one practices the spiritual life through the practice of yoga, and if it is done in a proper way, then the vital energy, the spiritual energy which is in a dormant stage at the base of our spinal column, in a coiled up form, like a snake, through our spiritual activities it rises. As it rises, one makes spiritual advancement. But unfortunately, what happens in most cases, most of the time, through the sex act, that vital energy goes out of the body. Therefore, it cannot rise beyond the first chakra, which is opposite to the genital organ in the spinal column. Therefore, the yogi has to conquer sex desire. Then only he'll be able to make his vital energy rise from one chakra to another, elevating his consciousness. So yes, in order to make spiritual advancement, we have to lead a disciplined life. We have to follow. Discipline means follow do's and don'ts. These things you should not do, and these things you must. Abstain from these activities. Don't take intoxication. Don't indulge in immoral sexual relationships. The actual purpose of sex is procreation. But this process of procreation is a painful affair. Therefore, the Lord has given certain pleasure to entice living entities, male and female, to this act of sexual relationship. And everyone nowadays is practically just concerned about that little bit of pleasure that is derived out of that, forgetting the actual objective. The real objective, even in animals, we see, why do the animals indulge in sex life? For the sake of procreation. Should the human beings become more degraded than animals and indulge in sex life other than procreation? So, these are the disciplines. Be truthful, be honest, abstain from immoral activities, abstain from intoxication. Then only your consciousness will become elevated, and gradually it will achieve its spiritual objective.